took up that battle to save the Alamo Cenotaph from being removed. And that started off with the city of San Antonio. During the end of 2017, we held several rallies down here because one of the big things that we had problems with was the fact that a lot of people knew what was going on with the Alamo. And our main objective at that point was to make sure that every Texan in the state of Texas knew exactly what was happening, because it was a tragedy. I mean, to let them do what they wanted to do to this Alamo, and especially the Cenotaph, was just egregious. And so, 2018, we started off in the city. We attended over 89 meetings, city council meetings, Alamo advisory meetings, Alamo trust meetings, Alamo road shows, following them around Texas. We attended each one of these. Myself, our director Ramon, our director Joanne over here, our vice president Lamar, and many of our TITFF members were all present, and even Randy came in from Houston for several of them that year, and we gave them a piece of our mind. Unfortunately, we thought we had it. You know, we had 4 council members that told us that, yeah, you've won our vote over. Councilman Courage was actually one of them that did say that. Brockhouse was another one. Now, whenever Brockhouse came up for the day of the vote, he walked up to myself and our Vice President Ramon, and he said, just to let you know, I'm going to vote for this plan because it's a lot of money, and we need the money. And we couldn't understand why. We felt betrayed, first of all, and then, you know, secondly, that he would give in to, you know, he was supposed to be the only conservative really on the council other than Perry. So why would he give in to this? And unfortunately he did so. So at that point we started reaching out because we knew that they voted, all except for 2, Councilman Perry, Councilman Courage, voted against the plan. Councilman Courage even went as far as to offer an amendment to the actual bill that they were trying to pass on the Alamo and the Alamo Cenotaph to say, leave the Cenotaph in its place. Don't move it. And immediately, Trevino, you know, Tamale boy, he threw a fit. And so he said, no, we'd have to start all over from scratch, you know, because this plan says we have to move the Cenotaph and we're not going to do that and all this other. And they wouldn't allow that amendment to go through. So therefore, the vote came down, just 2 standing with us out of the 4 that said they would, and the rest of them voting against Texans. Not just TITFF, but all Texans. And so we then at that point moved on to the state and took our battle up, the Monument Protection Bill, as well as many other issues. And that's when our friend Doc Green came in. And those that don't know, Doc Green runs a great radio station, or radio show, the Amazing Doc Green Show. You can find him on Facebook, YouTube, etc. And he started passing it through the airways as well to try to help us out. And so Doc wanted to be here so bad today. He said it's just ridiculous. He's been out here so many times from Houston to help us fight this battle. We even invited him to the private meeting that was put up by Trevino and some of the engineers from the Alamo master plan. But he wasn't able to make the victory party. But Doc did have some words for you guys, and so we wanted to share this video that he made for you.
Greetings, fellow Texians. I'm here today because I could not be here in person. I'm so sorry that I had a previous engagement, but I'm so happy to join you via video. Ladies and gentlemen, the Battle of the Alamo did not end in 1836. It's been fought multiple times. In the early 1900s, Clara Driscoll and Adina de Zavala were both instrumental in keeping the Alamo as we have it today. And yet again, we find ourselves fighting this battle. Little Georgie P.P. Bush as chairman of the General Land Office. And then we've got Trevino on the city council here in San Antonio. These guys hate Texas. They hate what we stand for. They are trying to get us into the New World Order. No matter where you go in the world, if you show somebody a picture of the facade, just the outline of the Alamo, Japanese children Russian children, Chinese children, they all know what that means. It stands for liberty. Texas has a reputation, whether deserved or not, as the birthplace of that liberty on the North American continent. We have to preserve our history. Jorge Santillana said it best. He said, if we fail to remember our history, we are doomed to repeat it. Ladies and gentlemen, it is not going to be possible for the New World Order to take over with their one world globalist government as long as there are Texians that are willing to stand up for individual human rights, for a constitutional republic. They fought against a dictatorial government under Santa Anna. And today we fight against a dictatorial government under some globalist mentality, some great leader named Baphomet, perhaps. Ladies and gentlemen, the battle is not over. Finally, let me just say this. This is Texas Freedom Force. Single-handedly defended the Alamo again against 4,000 people that were intent on its destruction, calling it a monument to racism. They intended to deface it. And when the city could not defend it, when the Texas Rangers could not defend it, this is Texas Freedom Force stepped up and linked arms against that overwhelming mob. And so it stands here today. I am grateful to everyone in This is Texas Freedom Force for your sacrifice, and I thank you for what you have done. I want to thank all of my friends and listeners. God bless all of you, and God bless Texas.
Thank you very much, Doc. And like I said, he really wanted to be here today. He booked a gig basically 2 days before we publicly announced that we were going to be here, and that was why he could not attend today. So let me get this over. Sorry, I can't live feed and speak at the same time here. I guess I could, but it wouldn't be that great. So our next individual couldn't be here as well. These two were the only two that couldn't make it today. We met this individual in 2018, and you can imagine after spending hundreds and hundreds of meetings sitting there listening to the same spiel from the city of San Antonio, from George P. Bush, from all the other ones. This guy got up there at the HDRC meeting, and he spoke about the Alamo, and it was the first time out of all the speeches that I've heard, which have been very, very passionate from a lot of Texans across the state. I was almost in tears by the time he got done. And this was Dr. Tim Wesley, for those of y'all that do not know him. He recorded, unfortunately, his sister is getting married today, and he's walking her down the aisle in Louisiana. And so he wanted to be a part of this as well, so he sent you guys this message.
I hope you all are having a wonderful time. My name is Dr. Tim Wesley, and I'm just excited about what's taking place with you all. Unfortunately, I can't be with you all today because by this time, I'm in Louisiana for a wedding. But I do want to.
Okay, let me turn up the volume again on this. Let's see, testing. Check. Okay, I think this should make it louder here. Sorry, guys. Okay, try to start it over again.
Hello. I hope you all are having a wonderful time. My name is Dr. Tim Wesley, and I'm just excited about what's taking place with you all. Unfortunately, I can't be with you all today because by this time, I'm in Louisiana for a wedding. But I do want to congratulate This is Texas Freedom Force on a job well done. I met these gentlemen, and Brandon, the president, met them a few months ago as I was speaking up on behalf of protecting the cenotaph, and was able to connect with them afterwards, come and speak and talk about the protection of the cenotaph, talk about the history as well of those brave men that fought to make sure that we were protecting the great state of Texas as it was going to become, as we know it is now today. And so I want to thank Texas Freedom Force. I want to thank them for their diligence, for their work, for their commitment. Even when it seems like they were against the odds, all odds were against them, they continue to fight. This is a class organization with some class acts when it comes down to leadership. And again, I want to congratulate them on this victory, because if anyone knows what's been taking place with the cenotaph for the last, not just the last several months, but for quite a while, then they know this is Texas Freedom Force has been involved. They've been boots on the ground. Now, we have a lot of people that sit on the sideline and talk about what they're going to do. You also have some people that will cheer after the fact. After the victory has been attained, then people will show up and they'll begin to clap and cheer and say, look at what we've done. But those were the ones that were silent. But you cannot say that about this is Texas Freedom Force. At no point were they silent. Even in the face of adversity during the pandemic, they were still present. Even when the cenotaph had no protection from city leaders or city officials or city protection of any kind, they were present. When the threats came about, they were present. And not just for the cenotaph, but for all monuments throughout the great state of Texas. And so for that, I want to congratulate them on this victory. It was hard fought. Remember, hard fought, great sacrifices. And Ramon, you all know Ramon. He's going to be with you all today. Ramon, you're somewhere out there, wave your hand to him. By this point, you know Ramon. Ramon took a lick, but he kept on ticking, just like the Energizer Bunny. He kept ticking. So I salute Ramon, and I salute This is Texas Freedom Force. I want to thank Brandon for allowing me an opportunity to go ahead and speak today, even though I couldn't physically be there. I'm with you guys. This is Texas Freedom Force. Continue to do the great work that you're doing. Continue to protect all monuments throughout the state of Texas. And remember, as we've said before, and I've mentioned before, it's still history. May God bless you, may He be with you, may He bless the great state of Texas, and may He bless the United States of America. Once again, my name is Dr. Tim Wesley. Find out more about me at timwesley.com. God bless.
Dr. Wesley is a class act. I mean, this is a great guy. We're trying to convince him to run for governor or something. Because if we had somebody like that, we'd have somebody that speaks up instead of Abbott, who's remained quiet about the cenotaph this whole entire time. So we're going to move on to our next speaker. I'm going to put him out here until I can adjust it. But next speaker, y'all might know him by El Conservador, is Mr. George Rodriguez. So come on up here.
You got it. Thank you very, very much. You know what's really interesting about our gathering today is that there's several of us who are here of Latino, Hispanic, I'm not sure what they call us, Latinos, Hispanics, of Mexican, whatever, descent. Because the battle for freedom, my friends, whether it's Texas freedom or American freedom, it's not about race. Right. It's not about ethnicity. It is about an idea. And that is something the Democrats just don't understand. That is something that the City Hall people don't understand. The liberals at City Hall just don't get it. I am very, very proud of my Texas roots, and I'm proud as hell of the Alamo and its history. We are in a fight, my friends, still for the Alamo. Reason being, because now what they want to do is change the history. Since their defeat of the cenotaph, my friends, since the defeat of the cenotaph, there have been 6 different articles in the newspaper, the liberal leftist San Antonio Express, regarding how terrible it is that the cenotaph cannot be moved. And not only that, now they're talking about how they have got to expand the history of the Alamo to make it more inclusive. Now, when you talk about inclusiveness, my friends, it sounds real nice, but the reality of it is, what they want to do is they want to water down the history, the battle of 1836. If you're not going to talk about the battle of 1836 at this site, my friends, then we may as well just turn Pearl Harbor into just another resort. We may as well just talk about Valley Forge as just another pastoral place. We may as well just talk about Gettysburg as just another farm community. I mean, this is the stupidity, my friends, is that what they want to do is change our history so that they can change us. Now, I don't know how many of you have grandkids or kids that have gone through the Antifa schools nowadays, the public schools, but what they are doing constantly is teaching young people to be ashamed of being Americans or Texans. Constantly. And we've got to stop that. We've got to put a stop to that. More so than anything else, we have a media, not just the national media, not just the New York Times and the Washington Post. We have a media that continues constantly to berate, to destroy our history. We cannot do that anymore. We've got to push back in some form or fashion. We've got to draw a line to these reporters who were brainwashed, to the editors who were brainwashed, who think it's okay to attack being American, being Christian, being white,
I feel like it's Borat, but I don't
being
know.
Texan.
Maybe
My friends, I am
nice
extremely,
guy,
let me tell you, there's a couple here that are from Georgia, we're from Georgia, are from